Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today I'd like to show you how I made this little clutch box. Yesterday I put up a video of the cards that are made to go inside this little box, and I'll show you those. So there are 4 little note cards in here with this pattern of flowers and dragonflies, and so I made the companion gift box, so I promised to put this up today. So I'd like to show you how I made the gift box to hold these little note cards, and I'm just very pleased with the way this came out. I put decoration all over it, and with today's project I've actually done a little bit more decorating, really treated the paper like DSP. Alright, so what you need to make this box is really very simple. You need a piece of paper that is 8 inches by 11 inches. And we're going to score that. Actually, what I want to show you is what I used to make the pattern on the box. I used touches of texture, and I used this floral spray that's here, and then I used this little dragonfly. And then I used a couple of markers. I used a soft sky marker, a pink Pirouette marker, and then the inks I used was Wisteria Wonder ink. Then I used Pear Pizzaz ink, and the last thing I used was Smokey Slate ink. And those are the 3 colors that are represented in the box. Okay, so what I did to get this pattern, as you can imagine, is just lots and lots of stamping. And you could choose easily to just stamp the front panel lid of this box and save yourself some time. To really cover this whole page, it does take about 20 minutes to 25 minutes. And on this one, you'll see I didn't color all of the flowers. I skipped some and skipped some of the leaves just to give the illusion of being completely covered. This one piece on the back, I think I covered the whole thing. And then I did several of the dragonflies around. So the process for this is literally, let me get some scratch paper here. Taking your stamp, which is this beautiful floral stamp here, let me just clean that off once, and the Smokey Slate ink, and it is a process of stamping this all the way around this paper and then in the center. So just like making your own DSP. And you could do this and just choose to color in only a few of the flowers and leaves if you wanted to. There's lots of ways to approach this. So it is a process of putting these stamps all the way around this paper and then filling some in the center. And because this is a big stamp, every once in a while you'll get one where you really don't get a complete impression. And you can see that right here. You see that on this, on the stems there. And what I did was I just used a number 2 pencil and filled in those little spots that came out a little bit light. And so you would go all the way around this paper and then do your coloring. And to save lots of time on this, I have pre-done this piece so that you can see what it looks like when it's all done. And the other thing that I used when I put this together was Wink of Stella. And on the previous video, I found that if I moved it around, sometimes you could see how I put Wink of Stella on all of the pink flowers and buds and all of the dragonflies. So what we're going to do is spend our time today talking about the box and its construction. There is the video that I put up yesterday that has all of the coloring techniques and the way to do the layers on this piece. And the way I made this box is I only allowed a 1/2 inch pocket here for this little clutch, and it really is a very tight fit because of the raised panels on this. So if you wanted to include 5 of these cards, you'd have to increase these small pieces here by, say, 1/4 inch and make it 3/4 inch instead of 1/2 inch. And one of these days, I keep threatening, I'll do a video that talks about making boxes just in general, how you go about deciding what size it is and how to figure out the measurements, because it really is pretty simple once you understand it. Okay, so for this, what we're going to go is straight to the scoreboard. And we are going to score this at, and again, the measurement on this is 11 by 8. And so I'm putting the 8-inch edge up on this on the scoreboard here. I think you can see all of that. And what we're going to do is score at a 1/2 inch all the way down, and then at 1 inch all the way down. And I did my stamping purposely so that the scores would not be blanks. If you stamp this after you've scored it, these channels will end up without any color in them, and that's probably not what you want. And so I'm going to turn this around, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. A 1/2 inch and 1 inch. Okay, now we're going to put this up on the long side, and we're going to score this at 2.5 inches, and that's going to be the bottom part of our box, and 3 inches. Then we're going to score this at, let's see, 3, 4, so at 7.5 inches. And the reasoning behind that is that my card, as it's going to sit in the box here, is 4 1/4, and then I'll have my envelope, which is slightly larger, so I need to go to 7.5 to accommodate the size of the card. So at 7.5, and then allowing a 1/2 inch for the inside pocket, and that's all the scoring there has to be. I'll turn this over so you can see it. So it was at 2 inches, 2.5, 7.5, and 8 inches. And then 1 inch, 1/2 inch and 1 inch on either side. And that's all the scoring we have to do. This box is similar to one that I put up before when I did some note cards. And it's a clutch style. I like it because it's one piece of paper, and it's a fold-over box that folds on itself, creates the pocket, and is sealing. You can put lots of different closures on it. Today we're going to use a little magnetic closure. So what we're going to do now is fold and burnish our score lines. So, and on these, you want a nice crisp score line. So I'm going to do all of these. And then we have the score lines on the sides. And this is, as boxes go, a really easy box to put together. Okay, so there we have all of our score lines done. Now for our cutting on this box, we have these two little tabs here. We're going to cut up this first score line on the 2.5-inch side, so on the short side. We're going to cut right up the score line here, and I'm going to do that on both sides of this little tab. And then I'm going to cut away this outer little tab. And we're going to do the same thing on both sides. So right up the score line to the second horizontal score line and cut away the little tab. Now we're going to do a little bit of notching here, and very, very slight amount of notching. On this little tab, I'm going to take out just a sliver on both sides. And that one didn't quite cut. Okay, and I'm going to take out a very slight sliver on this longer 2-panel piece at the bottom here. So same thing on this side, a little notch on the tab on both sides, and a tiny little sliver out of this 2-piece panel here. So your box should look like that. Like that. Okay, let me get some of this stuff out of the way. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to cut away these two side channels all the way up the box. So we're going to, because we're going to create something on the side that looks like this, that is just like a little clutch bag. And so we really don't need these sides for this particular box. So cutting right up the score line as straight as you can, because your cut edges are going to show. So you want to be as precise and take your time and get your cut just exactly right. And we're going to do that on both sides. I'm going to save those little pieces to get my covers for my magnets when we put the closure of the box together. So again, cutting right up the score line on this as straight as I can. And take your time on this. If you've done all of that stamping on the back side, this isn't a place you want to have an oops and have to start over. There we go. All right. So here we have what our box looks like at this point. And like I said, I'm going to save these little pieces, and I'll show you in a minute what I'm going to do with them. All right, so now we have to put some some glue, and I'm going to use fuse because I want something that's fairly strong. So on the pattern side of your box, I'm going to lay some fuse down here on this little tab, and I'm going to lay some fuse down on this outer strip. Oh, I thought I'd grabbed my I thought I had grabbed my silicone mat, and it was a piece of black paper. I couldn't imagine why that was sticking. So best to use your silicone mat for this. So a little bit of fuse on the tab, and then on this outer flap, some fuse. Okay, yes, that's much better. Okay, so let's see. So we're going to fold this in, and we're going to fold this over. I want you to see that motion. Fold that in and fold this over to make an absolute square corner. Okay, same thing on this side. This one comes in, this one goes over, and you're going to match that cut line up to this score line, and you're going to make a perfect little corner there. Then these pieces we are going to fold in, and we're going to match this score line to this cut edge here to make our pocket to hold our cards. And you just want to very carefully match those two pieces together using your bone folder once you've got it in there to set that nice and securely. Same thing on this side. We're going to fold this flap in and match that score line to the edge of the cut line. There we go. And again, I'll use my bone folder to secure that in. And there we've got our pocket that our card, and let me see, do I have an envelope handy? I should. Let me grab an envelope so we can see, so that you can see that the envelope and the card fit right inside that space with enough wiggle room on both sides to accommodate the card. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my little corner rounder, my Project Life corner rounder, and I'm going to round the corners of the upper part of the box here. And if you do this where you can turn it upside down and see exactly what you're doing, you kind of get perfect corners every time. So there we have basically the construction of our box. So I'm going to take the pieces out of this other box that I had made and show you by putting all of these pieces in our box that it does fit. It's tight, but it does fit. And the only thing we have to do now is put a closure and a ribbon on this box. So what I did was I used a couple of these rare earth magnets. I get mine from a company that's called Magnets for Less, and the 4 is the number. And I'll put a link down below. They're not expensive. There's some cost in shipping, however, that make them probably more expensive. And other than like eBay or Amazon, I don't know of any place to get them locally. And you might look in your own city. There might be a place to get them in person where you wouldn't have to do shipping. So for putting together this closure here, remember I said I was going to save these pieces that we cut away. And what I'm going to do is I am going to cut out little flowers that have, I think you can see that, with a little piece of greenery next to it to cover my magnets to give it a nice finished kind of look. And here's another one, maybe there. And I just need 2 of them to close up my box. Okay, so now with the magnets, what I use is glue dots. And I put my magnet on a glue dot, and this little tiny magnet that I've got here just fits, and then peel it off and decide where I want this closure to be and put my magnet in place. Then I put another glue dot on the back of one of my little circles that I cut out here and place that on top of my magnet. Then put my other magnet in place and then put another glue dot on the top of that magnet and then close my box just the way I want it to close. And what that does is it puts your second magnet right where it needs to be on the bottom of your box, so that when you open this up, your magnet will be in exactly the right spot. So I'm going to take my other little circle that I made here and put a glue dot on it and put that on the top of my magnet, and there we have the magnet close. And our little box is complete. So the last thing we have to do, I really think that came out pretty. I think anybody would love to get this as a little gift. And so I took a piece of ribbon, and how long is this piece of ribbon? It's probably 21 inches long. And what I did was I centered my box on it and got my ribbon pulled so that it's even, and then put my little bow here in the middle. Let's see how I do with the bow on camera. Sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't so much. So trying to hold my knot in place with one of my fingers so that the ribbon doesn't slide, and still be able to pull my bow. Nope, didn't work. Try it again. The first two times I did this, it went like anything. And maybe if I just keep my finger and don't try to switch, that'll work. There we go. All right. And so I just have got some pink ribbon out of my stash. Stampin' Up! Right now doesn't have a pink ribbon. You could always take the white ribbon and run it through a pink ink pad to get a perfect match. But this one seemed to work just fine. And there we have our box today. So, and again, you could save some time when you make this by maybe only coloring this part of the box and right down here, and maybe putting one floral spray back here and a dragonfly. I went crazy and did the whole thing, and I just love it. So that is our project for the day. I have a Christmas card coming up that I will put the fourth in my Christmas designs for the year. And you can get everything but the ribbon on my 24/7 shop, lbedinger.stampinup.net. The measurements are down below the video, as always. And there's a hostess code for ordering if you want to order through me. And if you don't have a demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. And that's it for today. I'll be back soon with more projects. Bye.